Okay, picture this. You've got a client who owes you money, and frankly, they've been on the ropes for months. You're pretty sure you're never going to see that cash. Then, boom, out of the blue, they pay your invoice in full. You can finally relax, right? Well, what if I told you that legally, you might have to give all of that money back? Yeah, you heard me. We're about to dive into a wild part of business law where getting paid doesn't always mean you get to keep the money.
So that's the big question, isn't it? A company that's about to go under finally pays you. Do you seriously have to return it? It just feels wrong. I mean, you did the work, you sent the invoice, and you got paid. End of story. But here's the thing. When a company is circling the drain, the story is never that simple. In fact, that payment could just be the start of a brand new headache for you.
And here's the term you need to know. Unfair preference. That's where all the trouble begins. See, what feels like a massive stroke of good luck for you looks totally different to a liquidator. That's the person who comes in to sort out the financial wreckage of a failed company. And in their eyes, that payment wasn't luck. Nope. It was you cutting in line, getting paid while everyone else got left with empty pockets.
All right, so to really get what's going on here, you need to understand two big and kind of clashing legal ideas. We're going to call them the clawback and the shortcut.
So, first, let's talk about the clawback. This is basically the liquidator's superpower. The whole point of it is to make things fair for everybody. The law says, hey, when a company is tanking, it can't just pay its buddies at the last minute and leave everyone else high and dry. So the liquidator can literally claw back those final payments, put all that cash into one big pot, and then share it out proportionately among all the people the company owes.
Okay, but then you've got the shortcut. And this is just common sense, right? It's something businesses do every single day. If you owe me $100, but I owe you 50, it's just way easier for you to pay me the 50 bucks and we call it a day. It's a clean, efficient shortcut that just makes sense when it's between two parties.
And this is where we get the big legal showdown. What happens when the liquidator's clawback power smacks right into a creditor's shortcut argument? Which version of fair actually wins? So you can see the problem, right? It all comes down to two totally different ways of looking at what's fair. The clawback is all about fairness for the whole group, making sure every single creditor gets a piece of the pie. But the shortcut, that's about fairness between just two businesses. It's the classic battle, what's right for the community versus what's right for the individual. This brings us to the million-dollar question. For years, this was a huge gray area. Could a creditor who got paid use this shortcut to fight off the liquidator's clawback? You know, they'd say something like, okay, you claim I received an unfair payment of $100,000, but guess what? That failing company still owed me another $200,000. So I'm just going to set those off against each other and we're good. For the longest time, nobody was 100% sure if that argument would actually work. Well, until now. Because this exact fight went all the way to the top, Australia's High Court in a huge case that finally gave us a straight answer. And check out this quote from the court's decision. It tells you everything you need to know about how they were thinking. They talked about securing money for the benefit of the general body of creditors. See that? Not two creditors, but the general body, the whole group. You can already see which way this is going. And the verdict was crystal clear. No room for argument. The clawback wins, period. The shortcut cannot be used as a shield. So what the court basically said is that these two rules exist in completely different universes. A liquidator's duty to get money back for the group is a special kind of power. It's not just regular business debt. And because of that, you can't use a regular business shortcut to cancel it out. At the end of the day, the collective interest of all creditors comes first.
Okay, so a court case settled, some legal jargon. You might be thinking, so what? Why does this actually matter in the real world? Well, the ripple effect is actually pretty huge.
Here's how things work now, and it's a much more level playing field. First, a company goes under and a liquidator steps in. Next, the liquidator looks back at the books and spots one of those last-minute payments. Step 3, they use their clawback power and reclaim that money. And finally, and this is the important part, that recovered cash goes right back into the main pot to be shared fairly among everyone the company owed money. So if you're wondering who wins and who loses here, it's pretty clear. Liquidators, big win for them. Their power to get funds back is now rock solid. But the real winners are the small creditors. You know, the little guys who usually get left with nothing. Their chance of actually getting some of their money back just went way up.
And the ones who lose out? Well, it's those creditors who got made at the last minute. They can't hide behind that set-off shortcut anymore.
Look, at the end of the day, the crucial takeaway is this. The ruling makes a really messy situation a lot more predictable and, arguably, more fair. Yeah, it might feel pretty rough for that one creditor who has to hand back money they thought was theirs. But now, everyone knows the rules of the game when a company fails. And the rules are designed to be more equitable for the whole group.
So that leaves us with a really interesting question to chew on, doesn't it? The law has made it clear, when a business collapses, the good of the entire group comes before any individual deal. It's a practical, clean solution to a very messy problem. But it does make you wonder, in the cut and thrust world of business, is putting the group first always the fairest way to go? Something to think about.